City, but it looks like it's clearing up. That's the good news. And here is Grady Sizemore to start this series off. The Tigers and the Indians, the first of three. First pitch of the ball game from Galarraga is outside. Sizemore followed by Cabrera and then Martinez, the top three hitters in Eric Wedge's lineup. The 1-0 pitch on the ground to the right side, foul.
This Indians team comes in with a batting average of .260 against right-handed pitching, and really the only two players that are doing anything against right-handers is Cabrera, the on-deck hitter, and Victor Martinez. This much we know about Martinez. If he comes up in an RBI situation, no need to pitch to him.
No, he has been outstanding. 43-minute rain delay to be exact, and it is 53 degrees here at game time. Sizemore is hitless in his last 8 at-bats, batting .239. What a season he had last year. Power, speed, ability to score runs, excellent defender.
He became the 10th player in the history of the American League to hit 30-plus home runs, also steal 30-plus bases.
Galarraga's 2-1 is hammered out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Grady Sizemore.
He was the 10th player to do so, but it's been done 14 times in the American League.
He is the total package, that is for certain.
Hanley Ramirez of the Florida Marlins also was a 30-30 guy last year in the National League.
So Sizemore giving Galarraga a battle to start this one. The Indians at 8-14. They have struggled. They just completed a homestand, and they played some long games.
They've had some tough losses this year. Games where they were leading early, giving up the lead. They've had some home runs hit late against them. They've just scuffled.
They played a nearly 4-hour and 20-minute 9-inning game against the Boston Red Sox a couple of nights ago.
Usually those are the games that Boston and Yankees play against each other.
Yeah. And there's Mr. Pavano. He'll be getting the start tonight for the Cleveland Indians. 2-2 on Sizemore. Galarraga having trouble putting him away. And he just missed down low. Run at full now, 3-2. Armando beat Kansas City in his last start, 6 strong innings, struck out 7 in that game. And a perfect 3-0. He checked it. Did he go? No, he did not, as they appeal down to third. Eric Cooper said he held up. A leadoff walk for Sizemore. Here's the umpiring crew tonight. Cornflakes Riley behind the plate. They have Laz Diaz positioned at first base. Scott Berry down at second, and your man at third, the man that just made the call, Eric Cooper. The umpires all bundled up tonight. They're anticipating a chilly evening. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera.
You got to keep a close eye on Sizemore. I just told you that he had 38 stolen bases last year. This Indians team is doing a lot more running as a team this year. They have 17 bags, so Eric Wedge just kind of turned his boys loose early in the year.
And that 17 stolen base mark is good for 4th in the American League. Well, much like the Tigers when Gary Sheffield was released by the ball club, the Hafner move, in which he's put on the DL, has given them a little bit more flexibility in their lineup. Now, certainly you don't want a hitter like Travis Hafner on the DL, but they will use that DH spot, much like the Tigers are, to rotate some guys through. The 1-1 is a strike called. Riley goes up with the right hand. 1-2 on Asdrubal Cabrera. Off to a 329 start. This guy's hit very well on the road this year, over 400 on the road, 414. Sizemore edging, and it's 2-2. Well, you know that pitchers are creatures of habit. When they get to the ballpark, they know that at 7 o'clock they'll be on the hill and ready to go, and the rain delay usually throws a monkey wrench into their routine, which is often difficult for pitchers to deal with. Here's the 2-2. And he got him, strike three. What's Cabrera doing there?
He asked for timeout, but he didn't get it. That's why you have to stay ready to hit in the batter's box. If the umpire does not give you timeout, you've got to be ready to swing the bat.
He actually asked for it twice.
He's asking for timeout. You can see him. He's got his hand up and he steps out, anticipating that Cornflakes, Mike Riley, home plate umpire, would give it to him, and he didn't give it to him. And Galarraga sneaks a little slide piece right at the knees over for strike three.
First strikeout of the ball game. So that'll bring up Victor Martinez. A little bit of a break there for the Tigers early on. Galarraga still had to throw a strike, and he did. Martinez, an outstanding hitter, always has been, probably always will be. Is working on has a 9-game hitting streak right now, and he's batting .386. He also has hit very well on the road, .390 away from Progressive Field in Cleveland. The 1-0.
And so far, Galarraga doing a pretty nice job with Sizemore on first base. Sizemore has not been able to time Galarraga as of yet, if he's entertaining the thought of trying to steal a base. And sometimes Galarraga will go to his slide step. Sometimes he'll hold the ball a little bit longer, so the runner can't get a good jump off of you.
Well, the Indians, top of the lineup, they go lefty, switch hitter, lefty. And Galarraga has been so devastating against right-handed batters this year. They're batting just .178 against him.
Yeah, apparently they're coming into the same type of game plan tonight that the Angels had a couple of starts against Galarraga, and that's to take a lot of pitches. That Angels team a couple of starts ago, they really taxed Galarraga over 100 pitches in 5 innings. They were not swinging at the two-seam fastballs that were darting out of the strike zone. The breaking balls that weren't strikes, they were able to spin on those as well. Therefore, ran his pitch count up, and he didn't last very long. Looks like the Indians are displaying some patience tonight.
Two balls, 2 strikes on Victor Martinez.
Martinez has taken 2 strikes and has not pulled the bat off his shoulders.
Boy, did they miss his bat last year. He missed about 2 months with elbow surgery. This guy has been a tremendous hitter in the minor leagues and the big leagues.
From both sides.
The 2-2. Popped him up. Shallow right center field. Granderson coming over. Martinez is out. 2 gone.
You can see it may be a little tough to pick up pop-ups in the outfield today. Polanco, take a look at him from his second base position. As soon as that ball goes up, Polanco is pointing exactly where it is. In playing the outfield, sometimes you need some assistance. It is not the easiest at times to pick up the ball off the bat.
Shin-Soo Choo is the left fielder batting cleanup in this Cleveland lineup tonight. Off to a .274 start. But only .219 on the road this year. That's lifted in the air. Shallow left field. Carlos Guillen coming under it. And that is that for the Indians. They got a leadoff walk from Sizemore. Strand man. Galarraga pitches through the first. failed to score the runner, and now the Tigers starting lineup. It goes as follows tonight. It'll include Curtis Granderson leading it off in center field, followed by Placido Polanco at second. Maglio is the DH, and Cabrera will clean up, followed by Guillen and Laird. Your bottom three tonight: Inge, Anderson, and Everett. And here is Granderson to lead off the home part of the first inning. Carl Pavano throws a high strike right at the Old English D of Curtis Granderson.
Pavano's going to get hurt if he throws 85-mile-per-hour fastballs up there.
Grandy has 18 leadoff home runs in his career. There's another strike, 0-2.
It's funny you would say that. The other guy in center field, Sizemore, also has 18 career leadoff home runs.
They're very similar in the way they go about their business. A lot of power from that leadoff slot. I would say, guess, Rod, the one big difference so far between Granderson and Sizemore is Sizemore hits, or I should say, Sizemore steals more bases.
Yes, he does.
The 1-2.
Sizemore also plays the game a little bit more aggressively than Granderson does. Sizemore, football in his background. Granderson, basketball in his background.
Got it. Strike three. Grandy was buckled a little bit. First strikeout for Pavano. The Bernstein advantage brings you the scouting report on Carl Pavano. Get the Bernstein advantage. We go to bat for you.
Well, he's had a couple of rocky starts this year. His first start of the year, he pitched 1 inning, gave up 9 earned runs. His last start against the Twins gave up 5 earned runs as well. He's also struggled since coming from the Florida Marlins in 2005 to the American League, and this is the first time the Tigers have ever seen Carl Pavano.
Here's Placido Polanco. You know, I was looking at that before the game. I wanted to see what his career numbers against the Tigers were, and then I realized he's been hurt so much with the Yankees that they never saw him.
Tigers really went hard after Pavano after he won 18 games for the Yankees.
Lifted in the air to center field. Sizemore coming over, but in front is Francisco to make the catch, and there are 2 gone.
Excuse me, he won 18 games for the Marlins.
There you go.
Before he signed with the Yankees. And the Tigers, they really went hard after him. I think it went down to those 2 teams as to where he was going to sign when he was a free agent that winter of 2004. Tigers and the Yankees.
The draw of the Big Apple was too much, though, for Pavano. And as it turned out, I guess you would assume he would have had the same injury problems here in Detroit. So it didn't happen, and maybe that was a good thing.
Yeah, he's had lots of injuries the last few years.
Here's Maglio with 2 outs. Ordonez at 241. He's hit a couple of home runs. The 2-0.
Tigers have to get their big boys going. And Maglio, of course, Cabrera's batting average is still way up, but he's struggled lately since a very hot start. And, of course, Carlos Guillen, they have to get his bat going, too.
Out in front that time, and he fouled it back out of play. Leland, before the game today, was asked by one of the writers his impressions 1 month into the season of his offense, and he said, well, you know, we've had some individual guys like Inge and Cabrera that have been very good, but overall just not very consistent, and they'll need to get better.
They will, before it's all said and done.
Fouled away.
They've got too many guys that have done it too long and just had great careers. His career is just starting.
And he's already put up huge numbers. Cabrera has slowed down a bit, but still batting a healthy .377. There's a bouncing ball and a high chop to third. DeRosa with a leaping play. Nicely done. Tigers go 1-2-3 against Pavano. We'll head to the second. Still no score.
Game of this series against the Indians. Coverage begins at 3:30 right after This Week in Baseball on your local Fox station.
3-game set here against Cleveland.
What are you going to do tomorrow, partner? We've got a rare day off tomorrow. What do you got planned?
Saturday. I've got a high school doubleheader to go watch. My son is in action tomorrow, so it's actually the timing's pretty good. So I'll be watching baseball all day.
That is great when things time out like that to go watch your boy play.
You just don't have too many opportunities to do that. Mark DeRosa leading it off.
I think I might go watch Bruce Fields' son play baseball tomorrow. His son is an outstanding high school player and has a chance to be a real high-round draft choice.
Good for him. You know, Bruce has got to be excited.
Oh, for sure.
You've been through that route.
I sure have.
DeRosa, Peralta, and DeLucci here in the second facing Galarraga. Here's Armando's 2-1 pitch. Hammered foul third base side right by Joel Skinner, their third base coach.
And DeRosa played on the United States World Baseball Classic team. Off to a slow start batting average wise, but he does have 5 home runs. He's driven in 18. A very valuable player last year for the Chicago Cubs.
Hammered to right center field. Granderson not going to get it. He started in and then backed up on that ball. It's going to go all the way to the wall. And that is a leadoff double on Mark DeRosa.
The Minnesota Twins actually tried to re-sign Casey Blake, who they had traded to the Los Angeles Dodgers at the trade deadline last year, but they weren't able to do so. And DeRosa comes up and gets a ball that's kind of right down the middle, tailing into his happy zone, and crushes it the opposite way. Not even Granderson could run it down.
4th double of the year for DeRosa, and the first hit of the game for either side.
He needs a strikeout here, which he can get.
Johnny Peralta trying to advance that runner to third at the very least. Peralta off to a very slow start, only 2-11.
A lot of their everyday players had a slow April.
And this guy hit 23 homers last year, and he scored 104 runs. 1 ball, 1 strike. After a 43-minute rain delay tonight, we got going a little bit late. Better late than never. Tigers trying to climb to 2 games over 500. They came in at 11-10. The 1-1. Broken bat, base hit to left field. DeRosa had to wait it through. They're going to send him home anyway. By the time it gets to Guillen, it's going to be too late. It's an RBI single for Johnny Peralta, and it's 1-0 Cleveland.
Kind of surprised that Joel Skinner sent DeRosa home, running right in the face of Carlos Guillen, especially after DeRosa, who was running from second base, had to hold up. But apparently Skinner must have realized that Carlos was playing rather deep.
And I think because it was a broken bat single, it took a while for that ball to get out to Guillen.
It's also wet today. He also understands that once the ball gets to the outfielders today, it's going to be a little bit wet because there was some rain here. You talked about the 43-minute rain delay.
Yeah, there was. Although it wasn't really raining hard, it doesn't take much to get the grass slick.
You got to factor in all those things. And Carlos is a new defender out there and not quite 100% healthy with his Achilles tendon.
Little chopper hit slowly to the right side. Cabrera fires one over the head of Galarraga covering. That was an ugly play, and it's going to end up with Indians at second and third. Wow. Once Galarraga realized that he wasn't going to get there, he then broke for the bag, and I think Cabrera had some indecisiveness. He didn't know what to do with it.
Well, Cabrera made his mistake by looking towards second base. So there was not going to be a play there. And then he throws off balance. He throws off his back foot. And when you throw off your back foot, a lot of times you'll see guys lob the ball like that. That's a throw that you don't ever practice at this level. And when you try to make acrobatic plays, when you're not used to making those types of plays, that's when you make mistakes. Let's take one more look at it. And watch how he throws this ball off balance. Off his back foot, leaning backwards. not a good play.
That's a base hit and an error. Single E3, leaving runners at second and third. Still nobody out. And here is Ben Francisco. So a lot of work to do now for Galarraga. Armando came into this one having put up pretty good numbers this year against the Central. 2-0 with an 0.73 ERA. Facing Kansas City and Chicago in the Central Division and pitching well against both of those teams. Swing and a miss.
That's what you've got to throw Francisco all night long. He has got lightning quick hands. He's got strong hands. He's got a quick bat. He clobbers fastballs.
One and two on Francisco. Hitting .241 this year. Peralta the runner at third. DeLucci at second. Here's the 1-2. Popped him up. Shallow center field. Granderson coming in on the ball. And the runners will hold. That's a start. One out. It's going to bring up Kelly Shopik. Shopik doing the catching and batting ninth. Boy, did he have himself a nice year last year.
He sure did.
With the injury to Martinez, he took over and did the Lions' share of the catching and put up some nice numbers.
Hit more home runs than any catcher in the American League. .21, drove in 55. And he's going to get a lot more playing time this year. And Victor Martinez has been playing quite a bit of first base.
Well, I think the one thing they found out about Shopik last year is that he can be a quality big league catcher that can go out there every day and not just a guy that you plug in every 4 or 5 days as a backup.
He took advantage of the opportunity that he was given.
Oh, 0-2 on Shopik. Tried to get him to chase that slider, wouldn't do it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Shopik originally property of the Boston Red Sox. He came over to Cleveland in the Coco Crisp deal a couple of years ago.
There are some managers that would be playing their infield in right now, trying to prevent that second run from scoring on a ground ball. But I think Jim feels like his offense is going to score a few runs today against Pavano. Therefore, he's not stressing yet.
Laird able to block it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We were talking about Shopik hitting more home runs than any other American League catcher. The major league leaders last year, Brian McCann of Atlanta and Giovanni Soto of Chicago, they each hit 23. And McCann this year's been on the DL, and Soto has struggled.
Shopik had some good games against the Tigers last year. I think one game he went something like 5 for 5 with a couple long balls, tons of RBI. He had a good year.
2-2 on Shopik. Slider again, just about the same spot, and again Laird has to go down, and Shopik showing some patience there, and he's run the count full.
That's one of the things that Laird has done an outstanding job of in his big league career, and that's blocking breaking balls in the dirt. When you call for the pitch, you have to anticipate that it's going to be down in the dirt, and you've got your guy to get your feet ready to move, to shuffle, to get in front of it, to make sure the ball doesn't trickle off of your body to the right or to the left. He could throw him that same pitch and get a strikeout here.
And he missed it inside. That is going to load the bases. A walk to the number 9 hitter, Shopik. Second walk in the ball game now for Galarraga, and now the trouble begins because you've got Sizemore coming up.
That's one of the things that Galarraga was not happy with 5 days ago against Kansas City when he walked 5 Royals. He said in between starts, so he and Rick Knapp were going to work on attacking the strike zone a little bit more efficiently.
Sizemore, meanwhile, almost 400 with the bases loaded career. He sends it high in the air to center field. Granderson has it measured. Peralta tagging at third. He will come in to score. The throw comes back into second base. Sac fly and an RBI for Grady Sizemore. 2-0 Cleveland. Sizemore gets his 19th RBI. And Galarraga now with a chance to get out of this inning, allowing just 2 runs. Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, who was called out on strikes back in the first. After asking for time, he wasn't given time, and he just kind of looked at strike 3. Breaking ball is in there on the outer edge, 0-1.
Cabrera struggled last year offensively until the final month of the season where he hit over 400. And he's kind of continued that in the first 4 weeks of the season here in 09. It's off to a pretty good start offensively.
Ground ball hit to the right side. Polanco is going to go to the grass, and he will not have a play. Safe at first base. This will score another run. DeLucci is in. It's 3-0 Cleveland. Little bleeder that got by the diving Cabrera, and Polanco was unable to field it cleanly.
Well, some of you may be wondering why Polanco did not leave his feet on this ball, because if he leaves his feet, he knows Cabrera is going to be safe no matter what. So he tried to knock it down and glove it without leaving his feet, because that would have been the only chance that they would have been able to get Asdrubal Cabrera running down the line. You know, we talked about it before the game started today. Even though this Indians team comes in not necessarily playing good baseball, they're a confident bunch against Detroit. They have won 7 straight games against the Tigers dating back to last year. And even though you come in struggling as a whole, you still feel like you can compete. And Eric Wedge's teams always play hard.
Indians won 11 of the 18 between the two teams last year. And they're off to a 3-0 lead here tonight. Now another dangerous hitter in Victor Martinez. Flied out back in the first inning to the center fielder Granderson. Good pickup by Laird as he went to the backhanded.
Armando not as sharp in the first couple of innings today as we have seen him in really the majority of the year. Already 43 pitches. Balls to strikes ratio not all that good.
Shades of that Angels game in which he threw 110 pitches in 5 innings. One and one. RBIs in the inning go to Peralta, Sizemore, and Cabrera. Shopik, the man at second base. And you've got Cabrera at first. Armando beat Cleveland 3 times last year. Made 5 starts against them. His ERA against the Tribe 3.62. That's on the ground to the first baseman, foul. 2-2 on Victor Martinez. Martinez this year's absolutely crushed right-handed pitching. He's hitting over 400 against righties. Line drive to left. That's a base hit. Here comes Shopik rounding third. They're going to send him home. And Guillen's throw is way late. It's an RBI single for Victor Martinez. So what looked like you might see minimal damage has now turned into a 4-0 inning, and the Tigers have gotten on the telephone. 12th RBI this year for Martinez, and that, by the way, extends his hitting streak to 10 straight. Here's the 9th man to bat in this inning, Shin-Soo Choo. The Yankees hit around a couple of times in the 3-game series, and now the Indians hit around here in the second.
That's been a problem for the Tigers in the first 4 weeks of the season. The opposition on occasion has put up some crooked numbers in one inning against Detroit.
That is hooked into right field and caught in a basket by Josh Anderson. Tricky play, and that'll retire the side, but a big inning for Cleveland. They lead 4-0. Start because of rain. Indians batting around in the second. Here come the Tigers now facing Carl Pavano, who got him 1-2-3 back in the first. Miguel Cabrera leads it off, and he'll take a ball down low from Pavano.
And Tigers can get back in this game, and there's no debate about that. They just have to have some patient at bats against Pavano. He will throw them some things that they can hit.
Cabrera had singles in each of his first 3 at bats in that Yankees series, and they turned out to be his only hits in that series against New York. It was 3 for 9. The 2-0. Down the middle it comes, 2-1.
Yeah, Pavano not overpowering by any stretch of the imagination. Will cut fastball anywhere from 89 to 91. He's got a curve, he's got a slider, he's got a change. Pitches to a lot of contact.
Breaking ball is on the ground to second. Cabrera throws out Cabrera. 1 gone. 4 in a row retired by Pavano. Pavano didn't make his first major league appearance until August 23rd last year. Of course, he was recovering from reconstructive elbow surgery. Just the latest in a litany of injuries that Pavano has had. In fact, since he was picked up by the Yankees, he was on the DL every year the Yankees had him. The Indians decided to sign him this past offseason as a free agent.
Yeah, not a bad idea to take a flyer on a guy that has had some success in the big leagues. And he pitched okay last year for New York when he came back.
Yeah, he did.
He was not bad. But of course, after spending those 4 years, as you mentioned, basically on the disabled list. The Yankees weren't about to re-sign him. He only made 26 starts in the 4 years that he spent in a Yankees uniform.
Well, he was acquired by the Yankees in 05, was on the DL in 05, 06, 07, and 08. 1-2 on Carlos Guillen. Here's one bat the Tigers really need to get on a roll here. Carlos came in batting .230. Pavano's a big guy, 6'5", 240 out of New Britain, Connecticut. He is 33 years old.
He used to be a guy with an overpowering fastball in the mid-90s.
Slice to left field. But right at Shin-Soo Choo. 2 gone. It's 5 in a row retired by Pavano. Here's the catcher, Gerald Laird. Dontrelle Willis making a rehab start tonight, by the way. Will, as soon as his numbers become final, update you on those. Laird looks at a strike, and Leland was also talking about Bonderman before the game today, saying he's pitching in some of those extended spring training games and is coming along, but really nothing a whole lot to report.
Well, pitching in those extended spring games, that'll make you want to get healthy in a hurry.
Not a whole lot of fun.
Them 6 o'clock wake-up calls.
What time do they play the games?
Early when it's really hot.
Is that right?
Like 9 o'clock in the morning. You have to because it gets so hot down in Florida. But I remember starting out as a young coach in the extended spring with the Florida Marlins. You got to check curfew. You got to get up early in the morning. It's tough duty. It really is. Well, it's not tough duty, but you don't like those 6 o'clock wake-up calls.
Gerald Laird at 286, 0 for his last 9. Trying to get something started here for the Tigers in the second. They have extended in Arizona as well, so I can imagine it really gets toasty there.
They call it the Fire League.
The 0-2 pitch.
Advantage so far, Pavano, and it may be that way until each and every Tiger gets a good look at him. You know, anytime you've never faced a guy before, you can watch all the video that you want to watch, but until you get 60 feet 6 inches away from him, you don't know exactly what the ball's doing.
Rosa handles one off to his left, and the Tigers again go 1-2-3. 6 up, 6 down against Pavano. 4-0 Cleveland at the end of 2. You came in, that's a promise. AT&T, your world delivered. And by Aflac, we've got you under our wing. Well, on a night like tonight, doesn't hurt to have a heater in the dugout. keeping them warm down there. It was 53 at game time. It's still holding steady at 53. 43-minute rain delay at the start of this one tonight. Galarraga back at the hill facing Mark DeRosa. He led it off with a double in that 4-run second as they hit around. You were talking about the value of a guy like Mark DeRosa. He played 6 positions last year. Literally just about anywhere on the field. 1 ball and 1 strike. Been pretty hot too. 7 for his last 13. 1-1 pitch.
As I said the first time he came up, they wanted to re-sign Casey Blake, who had wore their uniform before they traded him to the Dodgers, but they really couldn't get the contract situation together. Therefore, he re-signed with Los Angeles.
Comebacker. Galarraga handles it. 1 out. Well, after the rain has come through, it's turned into a nice night. Look at the sky. A little bit of color out in the sky out there beyond center field.
This is a beautiful ballpark. And the grass always looks spectacular.
Immaculate. Good pitch. Strike 1 on Johnny Peralta.
One of the best grounds crew in the league, led by Heather Nabosny. I don't think I've ever seen a brown spot on this field in 7 years.
I think you're right. Then we go to some of the other cities, especially in the summer where it gets really hot. In Boston, you've seen their field get beat up a little bit. Baltimore. That's drilled high and deep to left. This one is gone. It got out quickly. Johnny Peralta with his 2nd hit of the game, and the Indians now lead 5-0.
That is Peralta's first home run of the year. And it came on a breaking ball that was not located very well. Indians on a mission here so far tonight. Looked like a breaking ball that just kind of stayed right up, right around the belt buckle. And Johnny didn't overswing at it. Carlos got back, jumped for it, but didn't have enough hops to make the play.
Here is David DeLucci. What does the name Woody Held mean to you? Anything?
Woody Held?
Woody Held.
I have no idea.
Well, Peralta was tied with him for the all-time franchise career mark of 85 homers for a shortstop for Cleveland. He has just gone ahead of him. This one is hit deep to right center. Granderson will run it down.
Good communication that time between Anderson and Granderson. There was a play earlier in this homestand with the Yankees, and they kind of collided with one another, but you can see Anderson's very aggressive out there. But what he did is he took a look at Granderson this time, and he could hear Granderson calling for the baseball. Therefore, Anderson peeled off. The more they play together out there, the more that they will get in sync together in the outfield, because both have tremendous speed and cover a lot of ground.
Here's Ben Francisco. If the Tigers signed somebody named Sanderson, you'd have Anderson, Granderson, and Sanderson again.
Yes, you would.
There's a strike call, 1-2.
Did somebody tell you that, or did you think
No,
of that?
I thought
all
of it
all on your own.
Yeah, it took me a couple days, but I figured it out. There used to be a Scott Sanderson who was a pretty good big league pitcher. There's a bouncer to the shortstop. And Everett will throw him out, and that's going to be bad for the Indians. But the home run now makes it 5-0 Cleveland. Twitter and become our fan on Facebook. It's easy and free. Simply search Fox Sports Detroit on either site and become part of our social network community. That's Fox Sports Detroit, available on Twitter and Facebook. Here's Brandon Inge leading it off for the Tigers. It is 5-0 Cleveland, the first game in this series.
Well, what did we do before there were cell phones?
You know, I was trying to think of that the other day. Go to a pay phone. I don't know. What else did you do? You're kind of dependent upon them today, aren't you?
Every time you look around, somebody's got their phone in their hand. Text messaging. Now you got Twitter.
Tweeting. 1-1 pitch. Hit to the shortstop. And picked off before it hits the ground. And Inge is out, one gone. 7 straight retired by Pavano to start this one.
The Tigers going to have to turn up their intensity level a little bit. You don't want to let a guy like Pavano get too comfortable out there. You know, I was watching some video of Pavano in the Tigers clubhouse before the game, and a lot of their players were watching the video as well. But guys like Cabrera, guys like Maglio, some of your big power hitters, when watching that video of the Minnesota Twins, there's really no one in that Twins lineup that kind of simulates your body structure. Therefore, you really can't get a good idea of how he would pitch to a big guy like yourself. The smaller guys, like an Anderson, like a Granderson, the Twins have lots of players like that, but no one as big and physical as the big boys. Well, and sometimes that's all you have to go on when watching video. How's he pitching another guy that hits sort of like I hit?
Yeah, the only really big guy they have is Justin Morneau, and he's a left-handed batter.
A big bat, too.
The 0-2 pitch. Just off the plate.
Twins might have Mauer back by the time they get here on Monday.
Tonight he was activated.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ron Gardenhire has to be excited about that. Bouncing ball right side. Tough hop. Knocked down by Martinez. And he is. Ooh, look out. He never touched the bag, I don't believe. Better get there.
He's hurt, too.
Oh, Josh Anderson. Laz Diaz hasn't made a call, I don't think.
He has not.
He's got to be out, isn't he?
We'll see.
He flipped right over the bag and never touched it. And Eric Wedge is saying, what's the call here? Laz hasn't made a call.
I don't know if Laz saw it.
I hope Josh is okay. He went flying through the air.
Never touched the bag. Victor Martinez played this in air. Victor kind of flipped him there. Take a look at Victor with his glove. Trying to tag him, just flips him.
What does Exmo tell us? Ooh, he came down hard. I think they've called that an error. E3.
I think Wedge must be trying to get Laz Diaz to ask one of the other umpires if they saw something differently. But so far, they really have not huddled.
The only thing I can think here, if they're calling Anderson safe, they must be saying that he got to the bag before they finally picked up the loose ball and threw to first, which I don't think was the case. But let's take another look at it.
Ouch.
No style points there for that landing. And that's the ball got there before him. Well, he's going to be safe at first base, an error charged to the Indians. Eric Wedge losing an argument. That's the first base runner for the Tigers tonight. And fortunately, Josh is okay. Here's Adam Everett. Tigers need to start chipping away at this deficit. Long way to go in this game. Only the third inning. It's lifted in the air toward right center field. Hit pretty good. Sizemore coming over. So is the right fielder Francisco, who runs it down. It held up long enough for Ben Francisco to get there.
Everett, first ball swinging and knowing, even though the Tigers are down by 5, when Anderson's on first base, he's going to get a lot of fastballs. He told me the other day he's kind of liking hitting in the batting order behind Anderson because of that fact.
There's Granderson. Curtis struck out back in the first, 0 for 1. Talking about Pavano pitching to contact. He has only 1 strikeout. That was Granderson. Everybody else put the ball in play against him.
He has had a couple good starts this year. One against Kansas City, and also pitched a really good ball game in New York as well.
It's popped in the air. Shallow left center. Who's going to get there? Chu does, coming out of nowhere. Tigers are done. 3 in the books here at Comerica Park. 5-0 Indians. To note tonight, what Venezuelan-born player not in tonight's game has the highest career batting average? You've got Guyana, you've got Cabrera in this game, you've got Maglio, but not in tonight's game has the highest career batting average. Don't forget Victor Martinez. He's in the game as well. Kelly Shopik leads it off as we go to the top of the 4th. Indians race out to a 5-0 lead. They got 4 runs by batting around in the 2nd off Galarraga. This is the most runs that Armando has given up in any start this year, 5 of them. And they're all earned. Shopik had a walk and scored a run back in the 2nd. Swing and a miss. Shopik to be followed by Sizemore and then Asdrubal Cabrera. Got him, strike 3. Shopik is caught looking. 1 out in the 4th.
It's a good fastball there. Apparently Shopik must have been looking for something else to take a fastball that close with 2 strikes.
Second strikeout for Galarraga, both of them looking.
And really no need to look for the Galarraga slider if that's what Shopik was looking for, because usually you can't hit that pitch if he locates it. And the way that he has located it the majority of his starts since coming to the big leagues last year.
Sizemore had a sacrifice fly back in the second. That ball stays up off speed and it missed high. 2-0.
Galarraga came into action tonight with the second best earned run average in the American League at 1.85. Zach Greinke, his earned run average is .50.
Boy, it skyrocketed after his last start. Sizemore dumps one into right field, a base hit. That's his first hit tonight, and the Indians have 7 now.
And Grady was on first base back in the first inning after walking to lead off the game and did not attempt to steal. With a 5-run lead, would not be surprised if Sizemore tried to steal a base on the first or second pitch.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, who singled one in back in the second. Cabrera came in batting .391 in his last 6 games. He really turned it on last year. He had a great September for Cleveland, hit over 400. Rolled foul. 1 ball, 1 strike on Cabrera. Indians have had some big innings, even though they have struggled for the most part. They scored 14 in the second inning of a game on April 18th against the Yankees. Of course, the Yankees put up that 10 spot in the 7th inning here a couple of nights ago. That'll go foul. Nice catch. In the front row. And his cell phone should be ringing very shortly.
Sitting next to the guy down there that always has the bobbleheads.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
The 1-2 is lifted in the air. Center field, Granderson coming in. He's had a lot of balls out there to center tonight. 2 gone. There's Victor Martinez. Victor had a single to drive in a run in that 4-run second, and that extended his hitting streak to 10 straight.
Tigers have had a tough time of getting Martinez out the last few years. He's put up some monster numbers against them. And you look at the way the Tigers defenders are defending him. That's a sign of a good hitter. No one's overplaying him. Everyone's basically playing him straight up, which means he uses foul line to foul line. And they play him the same way when he hits from the right side. He's a really good young hitter.
All he needs is 6 home runs to tie him with John Romano for the most home runs by a catcher in club history. Of course, he's the first baseman here tonight. Victor has 5 homers total this year. 2-0 drops in for a strike. Martinez now with 12 RBIs. Galarraga has yet to have a 1-2-3 inning tonight. Here's the 2-1. Going to fill it now. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and that means Sizemore will be on the run. So Cabrera is going to back up defensively at first base. Tigers tonight have been out hit 7-0. Time called as Martinez was given late time. Had an incident earlier in the ball game back in the first inning when Cabrera was calling for time, wasn't given time, and Galarraga struck him out looking.
Martinez kept both hands on the bat until he was given time from home plate umpire. Cabrera did not.
And there is ball 4, so Martinez gets a walk.
6 pitches, and Martinez did not take his bat off his shoulder.
Third walk now for Galarraga. Armando walked 5 in that last start against Kansas City, had 3 the start before that against the Angels. And 3 here tonight. That's going to bring up Shin-Soo Choo.
Choo does not hit like most players from Korea. Yeah, most of those players have real high leg kicks, exaggerated leg kicks. He hits more like an American-born player. And the reason for that is he started his professional career in the Seattle Mariners organization as a minor league player. Did not play baseball professionally for Korea.
He was quite a high school player in Korea. In fact, was a great two-way player. They say that in high school, his arm was so good he threw about 95 in high school.
His arm still works very well from left field where he's playing tonight.
Galarraga missing again. 2 balls, 1 strike.
I believe Choo still has to serve 2 years.
He does, to the Korean military, but he can get out of it if he represents the Olympic team or plays in the Asian Games.
Oh.
Now, he played in the WBC, but that doesn't count.
That doesn't count?
Nope, they're not going to let him use that. But he does still owe the Korean military 2 years.
Or he'll have to miss 2 years of big league baseball.
Apparently so. Three and 1.
They have the same game plan as the Angels did a couple of starts ago. They're just taking lots of pitches. And Galarraga throws nothing straight. And a lot of his balls are moving out of the strike zone.
Lifted in the air to right field and hit pretty well. Anderson on the run. Granderson on the run. Who's going to get there? Josh Anderson does to retire the side. They'll strand a couple. We'll go to the bottom of the 4th. It's still 5-0 Tribe. Here is Placido Polanco to lead it off. It'll be Polanco, then Ordonez, and then Cabrera.
And second time around the batting order against Pavano. And let's see if the Tigers have figured out some things. I do know this much. He's attacking the strike zone. He has needed few pitches to get through the first 3.
1 ball, 1 strike. The only Tiger base runner through the first 3 innings was the error charged to Martinez, the first baseman, on that Anderson play, in which he went flipping into the air. Here's the 1-1. Ground ball to third. Right at DeRosa. He's handled a couple of opportunities tonight. Well, here's the answer to the Aflac trivia question. Bobby Abreu would be the answer because the rest of the guys are playing in this game. There you go. Abreu these days toiling with the Angels.
Some talented players. And Victor Martinez is the only one who did not represent Venezuela in the World Baseball Classic. He was coming back from injuries a season ago.
Victor stationed at first base tonight. He's way off the line, by the way.
Taking away that hole from Maglio. Maglio hits a lot of balls in that direction.
Maglio bounced out 5-3 back in the first. There's that hole down the line. Martinez trying to cut off the right side of the infield a bit. Two and two. Grounded foul. Pavano began his big league career with Montreal back in 1998. Pitched parts of 5 years there, but he really turned around his career when he won 18 games for the Florida Marlins, and that was in 04. And after that, he earned the big deal with the New York Yankees. Missed it down low, 3-2. 4-2 last year with the Yanks in 7 starts. Tigers desperately trying to get the bats going against him. He came in with a 9.50 ERA. There's a drive to left center field. That ball is down, a base hit. First hit of the ball game for the Tigers.
Hey fans, there's nothing better than Tigers baseball and hot dogs for select games in May. The Tigers All-American deal gets you an upper box ticket, hot dog and soft drink for only $22. Call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com for the All-American deal.
So Maglio is aboard now. Here's Cabrera.
Nice piece of hitting by Maglio. A little 3-2 breaking ball at the bottom of the strike zone.
Miguel is hit safely in his last 4, but he had just 3 hits in that entire series against the Yankees, 1 in each game.
And Miguel checks in with 4 home runs this year, 3 of which have come on the very first pitch of an at-bat. And therefore, opposing teams not giving him a whole lot to hit early in counts.
Well, Cabrera got off to that red-hot start this year. Of course, he hit a grand slam on opening day here at Comerica Park. But toward the end of the month of April, cooled down considerably, and I think it all started in that Anaheim series where he started to slow down. One ball, 1 strike. That is lined and lined hard to right field, but Francisco handles it. Boy, that thing was kind of tough to judge, right on a line, and Francisco can laugh about it now.
He lost it in the lights. You tell by the way he was going after it. He had a beat on him right away. Then he lost it in the lights. He couldn't see it at all. He got scared. That is one of the scariest things for an outfielder. You cannot see the ball coming. Did you see how big his eyes got?
Huge.
Scared to death. But good for him. He stayed with it and waited for the ball to come out of the lights to make that play.
Here's Guillen. They back Carlos out of there, 1-0. He lined sharply to the left fielder Chu back in the second. Only one Tigers hit so far, the single by Maglio in this inning. Two and 0 the count. Carlos is putting on a Tigers uniform back in 04. Came in at .339 career against the Cleveland Indians. 36 RBIs in 66 games against the Tribe.
Before the Tigers were able to pull the trigger on that deal, which landed Carlos in Detroit, the Indians also had made a bid to acquire Carlos Guillen. But Omar Vizquel was not healthy, and therefore the deal did not go through, paving the way for the Tigers to make that deal for Carlos Guillen. But the Indians had him first.
Just missed. 3-1.
I think Omar Vizquel was coming off knee surgery and did not pass his physical. And therefore the deal was not made.
It's funny how things turn out. He ends up in Detroit, puts up big numbers in a Tigers uniform.
And they end up with a pretty good shortstop in Peralta, who may have not gotten an opportunity to play.
Tigers wanted Pavano. He ends up going to New York and really struggles there.
And Tigers are going to have to start getting a little bit more aggressive on fastballs, because Shopik is calling a lot of fastballs inside, whether it be to the right-handers or the left-handers, even though the velocity on most of those pitches just 88 miles an hour.
Runner going on 3-2, and it's tapped foul.
And usually guys that aren't overpowering, and Pavano would fall into that category. As a hitter, you're not looking for a lot of pitches on the inner third of the plate, but he has gone in there a lot.
In the air, shallow center. Sizemore coming on to retire the side. Tigers get their first hit of the game, but strand him. Let's go to the fifth. superstores. And by wall-side windows, we can do that. We are the factory. Back here at Comerica Park, the Tigers trailing it tonight here to the Cleveland Indians. Rod, you like to say that baseball can be a funny game, and I guess that applies tonight. Carl Pavano came in with an ERA of about 9.5, and he has shut down a pretty good offense.
Well, they come in with a nice game plan. Lots of fastballs on the inner third to the left-handers and the right-handed hitters, mixing in some changeups when he falls behind. He's done a pretty nice job of pitching out there. Tigers going to have to make some adjustments, or they're not going to get to Pavano in this ball game tonight.
Meanwhile, Galarraga has given up 5 runs in this game. He has struggled a bit with his command, and he goes to work now in the 5th inning. There's a bouncing ball hit to third. Inge on the charge, and DeRosa is out. One away. Here's Peralta. Johnny having a pretty good game. A couple of hits, a couple of RBIs, a couple of runs scored. He went through a stretch in the month of April where he was 0 for 22. That's why he came in batting .211 after 1 month of the season. But his May has started with a bang. Here's a 2-0. Pulled to third base. Inge with a running scoop. Couple of ground balls to third. 2 outs. So Galarraga still in search of that first 1-2-3 inning. This may be it. Here is DeLucci, fresh off the disabled list today. He had a strained left calf. Began the year on the disabled list. He looks at a strike. DeLucci's been around a while now. He's played with a few different organizations. Had a decent year last year. 11 home runs. Broke in with Baltimore. He's played over in the National League with Arizona and Philadelphia.
Pretty much been a 4th or 5th outfielder throughout his big league career. Quality bat from the left side. Hits fastballs well. Plays hard.
In 1995, the year the Orioles drafted him. Drills one down the right field line. It's a fair ball. This one will get all the way to the wall. DeLucci has extra bases, and he is in standing with a 2-out double.
That's one thing about DeLucci. I just talked about the fact that he's a good fastball hitter. And he's a nice option to have on your bench when you got a tough right-hander on the mound. No matter what you do to a good fastball hitter, they're always looking for it. That fastball with 2 strikes wasn't located well by Galarraga, but still, as many breaking balls and changeups as he throws, you could sneak it by some guys, but not DeLucci.
Ben Francisco pops it up on the first pitch. Everett to the grass, calling everybody off. And that is that for the Indians. They get a double strand. Man, you're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. Relax responsibly.
Corona Cerveza.
Back here at Comerica Park on a cool evening for baseball. It is 5-0 in favor of the Indians. And Mr. Pavano has been tough on the Tigers tonight. He gave up a single to Maglio back in the 4th. That is their only hit. Gerald Blair leading it off in the bottom of the 5th inning.
We have seen on several occasions the last few years watching this Tigers offense. You can throw a guy out there throwing 95 miles an hour with good breaking balls and a good changeup, and they could kind of beat up on him. But the guys that come in that haven't won in an elevated earned run average, on occasion they struggle with this type of pitcher.
And that has been the case tonight. And when you look at Pavano's starts coming into this game, he really only had one really good one. That was that start at New York. He gave up 9 runs in 1+ inning in his first start of the year.
In Texas. I bet the Yankees fans were real happy about him coming back after spending the majority of 4 years in their uniform on the DL and coming in there and pitching a whale of a game.
Yeah, gave up 1 run in 6 innings.
Good for him, though. Nothing you can do as far as injuries are concerned. It is part of the game.
Tigers tonight have been out hit 8-1. 2-2 pitch. Again, pulled left side of the infield. It got through to Rosa, but it's backed up by the shortstop Peralta. Nice play.
It's nice concentration by Peralta. It's that Yankee start. Low cut fastball, swing back fastball, change-ups, breaking balls. The Yankees couldn't do much with him either.
And so far the Tigers have not been able to do much tonight as well. They've had 2 base runners. That's it.
From a hitter standpoint, at times you go out there a little overconfident against a guy like Pavano, who comes in with the real bad numbers.
Inge had a line drive to the shortstop his first time up. For Galarraga, he was the victim of a 4-run second. He gave up another run in the 3rd. The 1-1. Inge tried to hold up, couldn't do it. So Brandon has that streak of reaching base 21 consecutive games to start the year. Teaching still continues as Rick Knapp and Galarraga chat about his start tonight.
Pupil not happy tonight.
This one should find the seats, and it will. Looks like there is some action right now in the Detroit bullpen. That's lefty Nate Robertson.
Nate is heating up like he's coming into the game.
Swing and a miss. Pulled the string, and Inge is out, and there are 2 gone. Well, what's going on with Dontrell Willis tonight? His final line: 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs, all earned. 4 strikeouts, 102 pitches in 5 innings.
I don't think it's going to be that long before we see Dontrell here in the Tigers uniform again in the major league.
Jeff Larish, by the way, hit a 2-run homer tonight for Toledo.
Good for him.
Here's Anderson. .60 of those pitches for Dontrell were strikes. The 0-1.
It's been about 3 or 4 starts now that he's made in the minor leagues where his control has been decent.
And that certainly is something that I think is on the front burner in terms of what the Tigers are looking at. Ooh, not a good swing by Anderson. Down he goes, and Pavano continues his mastery. 3 strikeouts, gets him 1, 2, 3, and we go to the 6th.
For sure. And there have been so many starts where he has gone out there and kept their team in the ball game long enough to win. Tonight wasn't one of those days, but he has been awfully consistent.
Wallside windows pitching change. Nate Robertson comes out of the pen. And he will face Kelly Shafik. Then Grady Sizemore and Asdrubal Cabrera as we head to the 6th inning tonight. Shafik had a walk and scored a run in the 4-run second. Robertson still adjusting to pitching out of the bullpen. It's certainly much different in terms of how you prepare. And Nate, of course, used to being a starter and throwing every 5 days. You have your routine when you throw every 5 days. But into the bullpen this year, I mean, there were stretches, long stretches, where he didn't pitch.
I know Jim and also Rick Knapp huddled with Robertson in spring training and tried to get him to rethink his philosophy in pitching. They wanted him to be less of a power left-handed pitcher and more of a pitcher, I should say, adding, subtracting on fastballs, throwing changeups, not trying to crowd guys all the time with his heater.
Shafik goes down on strikes. Bring up Grady Sizemore, who has been on base twice tonight and has an RBI. And of course, this game featuring 2 of the top leadoff hitters in the game. But there are a few guys in the American League that kind of get it done in different ways, I suppose. We talked about how Sizemore and Granderson are very similar in their offensive approach. Brady takes a strike.
Well, you got 5 really good leadoff hitters in the American League. Ichiro, Sizemore, Kinsler, Granderson, also Brian Roberts.
That's pulled to second base. Polanco has it. 2 gone.
But they're all different, though. You look at Granderson, who has scored more runs than any of the guys since '07. Of course, Ichiro's got a high batting average. But Sizemore, RBIs. also home runs. Then you got Roberts with 93 steals. I guess the old adage is, do you want speed at the top, or would you like to have speed, power, and defense?
Yeah. They all definitely offer something, and it's pretty good.
You know, I did a piece on Tigers Live before the game today, and Sizemore and Granderson are so even in so many of their numbers, just not even funny. But it's amazing to me, too, though, Mario, that one guy, Sizemore's made 3 All-Star teams. He's also won a couple Gold Gloves. But yet our guy hasn't gotten any of that, I should say, hardware after the year's over. And they're so similar.
They are similar. You know, you talked about the differences in the way they play the game defensively, and I think Grady plays with more reckless abandon, and because of that, I think that maybe he'll make some catches that make highlight reels, and that grabs the attention of a lot of people. But when you look at the pure numbers, there's not a whole lot of difference.
That's a great point.
And maybe that's why he wins the Gold Gloves.
And Granderson, basketball background, plays a little bit more gracefully in the outfield, doesn't leave his feet as much as Sizemore does. But they're both tremendous players. And when they're going good, usually their team is playing some real good baseball. Sizemore has been on a couple of times already in this game today. And, of course, his team leads by 5. And Granderson has not reached base safely in the ball game tonight.
3-2 pitch. Cabrera gets a 2-out walk. Nate's first to the ball game, and that is 4 walks now for Tigers pitching tonight. So it keeps the inning going for Victor Martinez. One of those nights that Armando Galarraga will try and put on the back burner and go get him his next start.
That's really all you can do. But I think he's also going to have to make some adjustments as we go, because teams look like they're starting to display some patience against Galarraga. We talked about the one start he had against the Angels where they ran his pitch count up to over 100 in 5 innings because they were taking lots of pitches. Kansas City tried to do it, and they got 5 base on balls courtesy of Galarraga. But the Tigers offense showed up and they were able to win that game. But the Indians are here, same kind of approach, taking lots of pitches.
Game winner last year. Armando stated before the season that, you know, he just wanted to build on that. Win 13 last year, maybe 17 this year, and build on that the next year. One thing is for certain, he really came out of nowhere and was quite a find for the Tigers.
Victor Martinez has taken a lot of strikes today. He's been up 3 times already today. This is his 4th time up, and he's taken 5 strikes. 5 strikes in hitters' counts.
Why is that?
I don't know. I really don't know. Galarraga had him 2 balls, no strikes his first time up. He took the count till it was 2-2, so he didn't swing at 2 strikes there. Last time up, he took a strike right down the middle. Nothing wrong with seeing a lot of pitches, though.
Well, he's seen a few in this at bat. It's now 3-1.
That's why he's hitting 389.
Robertson, coming out of the pen, retired the first 2 Indians. And now he has walked back-to-back hitters. 5 walks for Tigers pitching.
Well, you know, Leland can't be happy about the 5 walks. And the Tigers really had been so good in that regard. They've been attacking the strike zone pretty consistently all year. Yeah, but in that Yankees series, they walked a few as well.
Chu hits a ball on the ground at first. That'll get him out of the inning. Cabrera tags the bag for the out. Couple of walks. They strand 2. 5.5 in the books. Everett, Grandy, Polanco coming up.
he simply flipped Anderson in the air. Anderson landed rather violently, but apparently was able to stay in the game. Coors Light Freeze Can brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Well, the Tigers have not been able to do anything against Carl Pavano. They have managed just one hit through the first 5 innings. Pavano climbs on top of the hill now, and he'll face Adam Everett to lead it off.
That is really now 3 straight starts that the Tigers hitters have kind of been dominated. Phil Hughes started it a couple of nights ago. Jabba Chamberlain, the final game of that Yankee series, and now tonight. Carl Pavano.
Ground ball hits slowly to second. It's a routine play there for Cabrera.
While tomorrow's game is on Fox Saturday Baseball, our crew is back with you Sunday for the finale of this series against the Indians. Coverage begins just prior to the first pitch at 1 p.m. It's Tigers baseball, presented by Bell Tires, Sunday afternoon on Fox Sports Detroit, in high definition on Fox Sports Detroit HD.
Strike one on Curtis Granderson. 1 for 2, strikeout and a fly ball. It has just been much too easy tonight for Carl Pavano. The 0-1 pitch. In the air, right center field, sinking, base hit. Second hit of the night for the Tigers. Granderson aboard.
Granderson hit it like Pavano threw it. It was something at 80 miles an hour. Little breaking ball that was down. Curtis reached out to grab it and found some grass in shallow center field.
Here's Polanco. The other Tiger hit, a single by Ordonez in the 4th. Boy, after dominating New York, the Verlanders started that first game of the Yankee series. It's been a slow go for the Tigers offense. Here's the 1-0. Placido tonight 0 for 2, fly ball, ground out. 10 doubles, second highest total in the American League. Two and one. Kind of hard to believe it. Polanco has 9 more extra base hits 1 month into the season than Ordonez has. There goes the runner. Here comes Shopik's throw. Not in time. Stolen base for Curtis Granderson. He's 3 for 3.
Pavano not paying a whole lot of attention to Granderson on the 2-1 pitch. And Shopik really had no chance at throwing him out. Granderson's jump was way too good. And he's in there safely.
That's number 50 in the career now for Granderson. Let's see if Polanco can drive him in here. He's ahead of the count, 3-1. Right in the outside corner. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Maglio on deck. Fisted towards short. Peralta. 2 gone, runner holds. And that's going to leave it up to Ordonez. Maglio had a single back in the 4th inning. Here's the 1-0. 2 balls and no strikes on Ordonez. Tigers are going to see a pair of lefties the final 2 games in the series. Aaron Laffey tomorrow and then Cliff Lee on Sunday. Verlander Lee matchup for the final game in the series. But they have their hands full with Pavano tonight.
That they do.
Pulled on the ground to the shortstop. Peralta gobbles it up. It's going to do it for the Tigers here in the 6th. They get a single, get a man to second. Pavano in control tonight. DeRosa, Peralta, DeLucci coming up. Online shop of the Detroit Tigers at Tigers.com. You can browse the largest selection of authentic Tigers gear, including clubhouse caps, t-shirts, jerseys, sweatshirts, and a whole lot more. Get your Tigers gear straight from the source at the Tigers.com shop. There's some Tigers gear. That jacket on the right, pretty good looking jacket.
Think you can get one of them in the team shop?
I think so. What size you wear?
XL.
I'll take a large. Here's Mark DeRosa. DeRosa, Peralta, and DeLucci in the 7th inning for Cleveland. Nate Robertson back out there. Pitched a scoreless 6th. There's a strike call. It's a whole lot of fouls batting in this inning between DeRosa, Peralta, and DeLucci. Double for DeRosa back in the 2nd. He started that big 4-run 2nd inning, and right now that's really the big difference in this game. They picked him up for the Cubs for 3 minor league pitchers. And he yanks this one to left. That's a base hit, his 2nd hit of the game. Leadoff man on here in the 7th inning. Here's Johnny Peralta. Big night for Peralta. Homer and a single, 2 RBIs. And strike 1.
Everything that Peralta has hit in the game so far in his previous 3 at-bats have been to the pull field. And Johnny is usually got some pretty good pop in the right center field and left center field, but today pulling everything.
She got herself a foul ball.
Yes, she did.
The 0-2. Tried to hold up, went around, strike three. And Robertson has his second strikeouts is coming on. Now David DeLucci. I was talking to Nate the other day about his preparation for pitching out of the bullpen these days, and he went through that one stretch where he hadn't pitched in over a week, and he said, well, obviously there's more side sessions, more bullpen throwing that you do than you do as a starter, but you have to find ways to stay sharp. As DeLucci lands one into right field, a base hit. 2 on now with 1 out. But it's been an adjustment. Rick Knapp tonight, he had quite a few conversations with Galarraga on the bench. And Armando was just a victim of that one bad inning. There was an error mixed in, but all 4 runs in the second were earned.
And we talked about that a little earlier. The Tigers have had some innings like that this year, which has allowed a few ball games to get away from him. Just can't stop the bleeding within the inning. Had a couple of huge innings against them in that Yankee series. A 10-run inning and also a 7-run inning. Jackson pitched well against the Yankees, 6 scoreless innings. And then when he didn't go out there for the 7th, well, that's when the Yankees scored those 10 runs.
Francisco broke his bat. It's one thing to give up a 10-run inning, but the thing that was so bizarre about that whole situation was it was a 0-0 game after 6.
I had never seen anything like it, where you have both starting pitchers go out there and pitch 6 innings of shutout baseball, and one team loses 11-0.
2-2 on Francisco.
You might want to throw him a breaking ball here. And if you do throw a changeup, make sure you get it down. He's a real good fastball hitter. Swings through breaking balls.
Down he goes. 3rd strikeout now for Nate.
Good pitch selection. It wasn't a breaking ball, it was a changeup, but it was located beautifully down and away from him. Can't hit that pitch. Good call by Gerald Laird.
Laird out to the mound now to talk about how they want to deal with Shopik. 2 men on here for the Indians in the 7th. They lead 5-0 in game 1 in this 3-game series, and the first of 18 meetings between these two clubs. Indians have had the Tigers' number of late, having won 7 straight in the series between these two teams. Missing high. 2-0 on Kelly Shopik. Shopik has struck out twice tonight, but he has had much better success on the road this year. His splits are not even close. He was batting a .105 or 105 at home at Progressive Field, which is a pretty good hitting ballpark.
Yeah, it's a great hitting ballpark. One of the best in all of baseball.
The 2-1 pitch. Grounded left side, base hit. It'll get through. DeRosa rounding third. They're going to send him home. Here comes Guillen's throw to the plate. Not in time. It's an RBI single for Kelly Shopik. And it's now 6-0 Cleveland.
The Indians know that Carlos Guillen is new out in left field. Therefore, they know that he's playing rather deep, especially with Shopping up 21 home runs last year. And when you're a new outfielder, you play deeper because it's easier for you to come in than it is to go back on balls. Therefore, there's been 3 base hits to left field where Joel Skinner, the third base coach, has not even thought about stopping the runner at third.
Here's Sizemore.
As Carlos gets more comfortable playing the outfield, he'll play a little shallower, especially with runners in scoring position. Therefore, with his arm strength, will give him an opportunity to throw out some of the guys that are running in his face.
In the air to center field, Granderson cruising to his right to retire the side, but the Indians add another. We'll go to the stretch here at Comerica. Cabrera, Guillen, and Laird coming up. Cup playoff hockey, here we grow again. You can grow along for the ride. Just go to DetroitRedWings.com. Get your tickets to Sunday's Game 2 of the Red Wings Ducks series. 2009 Stanley Cup playoffs. The Beard is back. What happened tonight? You ask. We shall tell you. The Wings win it 3-2. Nick Lidstrom a couple of goals, including the game winner with 50 seconds remaining. Johan Franzen also a goal, the third of his playoffs this year. And Teemu Selanne with a tally for the Ducks. So congratulations to the Wings. They go up 1-0 on the Ducks. And a Henrik Zetterberg fan in attendance here tonight. Well, Tigers need to get the bats going. They're down 6-0. They're running out of time as we go to the bottom of the 7th. It'll be Miguel Cabrera to lead it off against Carl Pavano, who has surrendered just 2 measly singles. That's it. He misses high. 1-0 on Cabrera. Miguel is 0 for 2. Tigers tonight, aside from the 2 singles, have had only 1 other base runner. That was Anderson reaching on an error back in the 3rd. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Pulled, and there's a base hit. Leadoff man aboard for the first time tonight. 3rd Tigers hit of the game. Bono's pitch count still in pretty decent shape. 87 total pitches. Carlos Guillen. Ball 1.
Carl Pavano has topped out at 92 today. but the majority of his fastballs have been anywhere from 87 to 89 with some decent movement on them. Not necessarily straight.
Right to the first baseman, Martinez. There's one. The relay is in time. The double play as Pavano covers.
That is the toughest double play to turn in baseball. 3-6-1. If you're the pitcher, you can't hesitate. If you're the first baseman, once you grab it, you've got to give the shortstop a nice feed. Pavano able to get over there, and he was on the bag when he got the relay throw back from Peralta. Not an easy double play.
Excellent feed by Martinez to start that double play.
That's a key.
Base is empty. Here's Gerald Laird. Laird tonight is 0 for 2. In fact, he's 0 for his last 11 now. Gerald got off to a nice start of the month of April, tailed off a bit toward the end of the month. The 0-1. To the left side of the infield for DeRosa. And that is that for the Tigers. Promising start. They get the leadoff man aboard, but nothing doing. As we go to the 8th, you're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports. How about your Comerica game summary? The Indians lead it here tonight 6-0. Game 1 in this series. Indians second inning, the difference, a big 4-run frame. Peralta's had a big night with a home run. Brandon Inge has not reached base at this point. He has reached in every game so far this year, but he'll have at least one more chance. Trying to keep that streak going. Robertson back to the hill facing Asdrubal Cabrera. Cabrera, then Martinez, and then Shin-Soo Choo. The 1-0. Lifted foul back out of play. Three balls, one strike. The 3-1 pitch. 3-2 now on Cabrera. Singled in a run back in the second. Robertson took over in the 6th inning for the starter Galarraga. Zach Miner is going to go tomorrow for the Tigers, facing Laffey, the lefty. Told you at the top of the show, the Tigers right now starting a streak of 13 straight against the Central. 3-2 pitch is looped toward left. Guillen is there.
Yeah, maybe their bats will wake up tomorrow against Aaron Laffey, who comes in with a 2-0 record and an outstanding earned run average. He has walked quite a few, however. And Zach, on the other hand, comes in with a 2-1 record, earned run average at 6. But the Tigers usually do pretty well against left-handed pitching. They have the last few years with a right-handed dominant lineup.
Victor Martinez with 1 out.
He had the Tigers set up for that first pitch fastball right there. I brought up the point last time Martinez was up at how many pitches, how many fastballs he had taken for strikes today. That time they threw a first pitch strike and he tried to leave earth with his swing and fouled it straight back.
There's a high fly ball hit into deep left center field. Granderson moving over. 2 gone. So Martinez on base 3 times tonight. Flies out to deep center. Here's Chu. The Tribe, for as much as they struggled in the month of April, really just a little mini winning streak away from getting close to 500. Then you take off. That was the problem the Tigers had early last year. They could never get that little streak going. They finally got to 500, but beyond that it was tough. And Brandon Inge has just sprawled to make another terrific play at third. Another highlight play for Brandon Inge, and he'll lead things off when we go to the bottom of the 8th. Watch this one. It's brought to you by Comerica Bank, standing the test of time since 1849. And by Beaumont Hospitals. Do you have a Beaumont doctor? Back here in the Motor City, downtown Detroit. Game 1 in this 3-game weekend set. Pavano back to the hill. Tigers down 6-0. And Brandon Inge leads it off. It'll be Inge, Anderson, and Everett here in the bottom of the 8th. Brandon 0 for 2, lined out, strikeout. And he lines one toward left field. That is down, a base hit. Inge's streak will continue. He's going to try for 2. Here comes the throw. He's safe. Double for Brandon Inge. And he has reached base in 22 consecutive games. It ties the longest streak since Alan Trammell in 1990.
Good fastball by Pavano, crowding Brandon in, shattered his bat in half. You better get on your horse if you're going to challenge Chu in left field. He has one of your better throwing arms in the outfield in baseball. But Brandon did not hesitate once he got around first base and had to have an outstanding slide to make it in there safely.
Anderson pops up a bunt all the way to first base.
And not a bad idea, but you have to take your time when bunting in that direction if you're a left-handed batter. You have to stay in the batter's box until you make contact. And then usually you bunt the ball on the ground. But if you're running and trying to bunt at the same time, that's usually what happens. You pop the bunt up. Anderson knows that because he practices about 50 bunts a day underneath in the Tigers' batting tunnel on breaking balls and fastballs.
Here's Adam Everett. Everett is 0 for 2. They have finally gotten somebody working in the bullpen. The Indians, as the pitch count approaches 100. There's a drive to left, a base hit. This will get a run in. Hinge coming around to score. Everett trying for 2. Here's the throw. He's safe. 2-base hit, and the Tigers are on the board.
Pavano's gotten a couple of balls up in the strike zone. One to Inge, that one to Everett. And that ball spanked down the left field corner. Inge gets a good jump. He's going to score easily. And Everett also a hustling double and challenging the very strong arm of Chu in left field. Chu usually plays right field for the Indians, but when they play in ballparks that are spacious like America Park, Wedge will pick which corner he thinks the biggest is where he'll put it.
Rafael Perez, the left-hander, heating up.
He struggled this year too. He got good stuff though. He got fastball in the low 90s, real good breaking ball.
It's going to be it for Pavano. They're going to want the lefty to pitch to Curtis Granderson. Still a 5-run lead for Cleveland, and the signal goes to the bullpen. So Pavano is done after 7 1/3. He'll give way to the bullpen. Perez will come in, and we'll be back. Carl Pavano is out of the game, and Perez will come in, the left-hander.
Well, one of the things that he was able to do is he was able to keep the Tigers hitters off balance. First time through the batting order, no one knew anything about him. Therefore, they didn't get any good swings. And once they sort of figured him out, he was adding and subtracting on everything that he threw, the fastball, the breaking ball, and the changeup. As a matter of fact, he was throwing under the speed limit in today's game, and he really handcuffed the Tigers offense that has potential but has struggled. That's our bell tire pitch by pitch, courtesy of Carl Pavano.
Well, here's his line tonight. 97 pitches is a season high for Pavano.
No walks. Did not walk a batter. He was in the strike zone all night long.
Only 2 walks in his last 4 starts, and now he'll give way to the left-hander Rafael Perez, who had a nice year last year out of their bullpen.
His numbers are ugly this year.
I would agree with that. 9 walks, 5 strikeouts in 10 innings, an ERA above 11. Here's Granderson to face him now with 1 out, a run in.
He does have good stuff for a left-handed pitcher. Good firm fastball, 93. And a good slider.
Perez last year appeared in 73 games out of the bullpen. That was a career high. And had an ERA of 3.5, walked 23, struck out 86 in 76 innings. Bouncing ball slowly off the end of the bat. Charging is Peralta. Not in time. Safe at first base. Infield hit for Granderson. His second hit of the night.
Granderson running as he makes contact with this ball, and there was nothing Peralta could do. He fielded it cleanly. He took very little time getting the ball to the throwing hand with the exchange, but the speed of Granderson allowed him to beat it out.
So the Tigers all of a sudden have 6 hits on the board now, and they've got the meat of their lineup coming up. And the rally caps are out. There's Polanco stepping in. 3 hits in this inning for the Tigers. Line to right field, base hit. Get another run in. Everett will score. Granderson to second, and the Tigers have a couple of runs now. Polanco with his 15th RBI. Chip it away.
Close the book now on Pavano. 2 earned runs. Well, Polanco's money in these situations. Runner on third, less than 2 outs. Very seldom does he not get the job done.
Tigers here in the bottom of the 8th. They're down 6-2. They have 2 men on and still only 1 out. Perez gave up a couple of singles. And Jensen Lewis is in now for Cleveland.
11th game now that he's been in, and he already has 5 decisions this year. How about that? Also blown 3 saves. He is scuffled as well. We talked about the Indians bullpen coming into this game. They have struggled.
And so far they've struggled here tonight. Maglio cuts and misses. Well, the Tigers set up really nicely here. They have 2 men on. They've got Maglio, then they've got Cabrera. See if they can get to Lewis here in the 8th. It's high, 1 ball and 1 strike. He popped him up. Shallow right field. Francisco. And Ordonez is out.
That is what Pavano was able to do the majority of the night. Exactly how Lewis pitched Maglio there. 2 fastballs. You speed the bat up when you're throwing fastballs, and all of a sudden you slow the bat down by throwing a changeup. And several of the Tigers hitters have been out in front hitting ground balls or popping up.
Rafael Betancourt is warming up.
The human rain delay.
I think he's speeding up, though, over the last couple of years after we caught him by putting the clock on him a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you did that to him, didn't you?
No, you did. Don't be blaming me. I don't need him knocking on my door. Here's Cabrera.
That was that day you were down by the umpire's room before the game started, wasn't it?
No, you're starting to spread stuff. 1 ball, no strikes on Cabrera, who is 1 for 3. Inside, 2-0.
Cabrera starting to lay off some of those pitches. That's the way he's been pitched like the last 4 series straight. Fastballs about 3 inches off the plate inside. And he thinks he can get to him, but it's a tough pitch to hit. If it's a ball, even if you hit it square, you're going to hit the ball foul down the left field line. But he has not been able to lay off of him.
3-0.
I'd green light him just in case Lewis wants to throw him a fastball down the middle. Just in case.
He's taking. It's a strike, 3-1. Guillen waiting on deck. The inning opened up with an Inge double, extending his streak to reaching base 22 consecutive games. Swinging a drive deep in the left, way back. Cabrera has done it again. It's gone. A line drive, 3-run homer. It's a 1-run game. He fell behind 3-0 and he paid for it.
There was no way Lewis could throw a 3-1 fastball by Cabrera down the middle. No chance. And that ball got out of here in a heartbeat.
It is a 6-5 ball game.
We talked about these relievers coming into the game, how bad they have struggled.
Edge comes out and takes the ball from another one.
Yeah, this is 3 pitching changes already in this inning.
So Lewis wasn't the answer. Perez wasn't the answer. They're going to hope that Betancourt is. Tigers offense waking up late, but waking up nonetheless.
Now, Rafael Betancourt a couple of years ago was the best setup man on the planet. His numbers in 07 were just unbelievable, but he has kind of struggled the last couple of years, although he put together a pretty nice September last year. But he's off to a slow start once again here in 2009. Throws lots of fastballs, straight fastballs, and a breaking ball. This is one of the problems they've had this year, partner. They have not been able to get to their closer, Gary Wood.
Yeah, they paid him a lot of money. They can't get him in a game.
And then when they've gotten to him on occasion, he has also given them up.
So Jim Leland now has some pep in his step. There's Kerry Wood.
Long time Chicago Cub.
So here is Guillen. Tigers down by a run. This has turned into a 5-run 8th inning. The highlight, the 3-run shot by Cabrera. Carlos takes down low.
That's unusual for Betancourt. He usually comes in with both guns ablazing. All fastballs. More like him.
Kind of lost in this inning is the fact that the Tigers had a couple of hustled doubles in this inning. Inge led it off with one, and then Everett hustled his way in to second base, driving in a run.
Hustle base hit by Granderson too, infield single.
So that's 3 of them in this inning. It's fouled away. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Carlos Guillen. Well, we mentioned the Tigers haven't beaten the Indians in 7 straight, and they're not going down quietly tonight, even though they fell behind 6-0. Two and two. The rally cap's working tonight. Bouncing ball back up the middle. Peralta ranging left. That'll do it. But the Tigers have a big inning. They're right back into this ball game now, thanks in part to Miguel Cabrera, who slams a 3-run homer. And the Tigers are within 1. Down by 1 run now, 6-5, and it's time for our Home Depot doing more on defense. And our defensive play of the night has to go to Brandon Inge. How about this one?
His first steps at that third base position are incredible. And if he keeps hitting the way that he's hitting this year, he's going to challenge Adrian Beltre for that Gold Glove in the American League.
Yeah, he's finally off to an offensive start that I think will garner some attention now, and plays like that will continue to have people watching.
And the reason why I say if offensively he continues to hit, as we look at Perry's numbers this year, 10 walks, way too many. But those are the growing pains that a youngster will go through in the major leagues when you've only pitched 13 innings in the minor leagues. But the reason I say that that Gold Glove is kind of tied to offensive numbers is because it is.
It is just a simple fact. So Perry is in, and the Indians have watched their 6-0 lead shrink to 6-5.
Well, one thing Jim can't do today is he can't really wait around that long. If Perry does not have control, he's got to get somebody up and ready to come back into the ball game. You're only losing by 1.
But I will say this: he continues to run Ryan out there and close games late.
Yeah.
Well, he has given him a ton of opportunities in these tight games. But it's 2-0 now on DeRosa.
Thank you.
Popped him up. Laird coming back to the screen, out of play. Action of the Tigers bullpen. Bobby C.
Big jump for Ryan Perry. This time last year he was pitching at the University of Arizona. College baseball.
Here down U of A. That's grounded foul, third base side.
A year later, he's in the show. Nice play. She brought her glove with her. Getting all kinds of high fives.
The 2-2. On deck, Johnny Peralta. Swing and a miss. One away.
DeRosa asking home plate umpire Mike Riley, was that a strike? Probably not, but when a guy is throwing 94 miles an hour as a hitter in a 3-2 count, you got to be ready to hit, and you have to start the bat a little sooner than you would against a guy that's not overpowering.
It's the first look the Indians are getting at Perry. That first one almost drilled a hole into the ground. Here's the 1-0. Peralta had a couple of hits in his first 2 at-bats, including a home run. Trying to break out of his slow start. Right down the middle, right at the knees. 2-1.
They have Bobby C. warming up just in case Ryan does not get Peralta.
That's going to go foul down the right field line.
They got the left-handed David DeLucci in the on-deck circle. But Eric Wedge could counter that move with Ryan Garco.
Breaking ball hammered to center field. Here comes Curtis.
Curtis plays a shallow center field, and he gets good jumps on balls that are hit in front of him. Therefore, takes away a lot of what would look like singles off the bats of some of these guys that get jammed.
David DeLucci. 3 hits tonight for DeLucci. His first game of the season off the disabled list was activated for the game tonight. And he has 2 singles and a double. Fastball right at the knees, outer edge. Not a whole lot you can do with that pitch. 94 in the black, 1-1. There's Kerry Wood starting to warm up now. One-two pitch.
Big difference when Ryan is pitching ahead in the count versus pitching behind. You can just see the confidence in his face when out there blowing that cheese.
Drill to the gap in right center field. That's going to get down. It's another hit for DeLucci. He's going to try for two and make it. A 2-out, 2-base hit. It's a 4-hit night for David DeLucci.
DeLucci, as we said earlier, does not miss many fastballs. A little short, easy stroke. He allows Terry to supply most of the power with that 94-mile-per-hour fastball. That's really all you have to do as a hitter is touch it. It'll go.
And that one did into the gap in right center field. Here's Ben Francisco. Strike one.
And Francisco should know by now how they're going to pitch him all weekend, because he comes in with a reputation of being a good fastball hitter.
That's in the air to center field. Granderson on his horse. He's going to get there, and that's it for the Indians. We will go to the bottom of the ninth inning. Tigers trying to complete that comeback. Laird, Inge, and Anderson to face Wood. Last call for the Tigers. We go to the bottom of the ninth, and they will try and complete the comeback. They were down 6-0 at one point, but there's the 5 spot of the 8th. How many in the 9th? Let's find out. It'll be Laird, Inge, and Anderson, and they will face the closer for the Indians, Kerry Wood, with the rally caps working tonight.
The Indians felt like the closer's position was one of the missing pieces for them to get to the postseason this year, because their bullpen was so bad last year. Which is why they gave Kerry Wood a 2-year contract to come over and close games for them. He's got great stuff. Great fastball, great breaking ball, but has had a tough time staying healthy.
Gerald Laird leads it off.
He has made at least a dozen trips to the disabled list in his career. A lot of them.
Wood last year saved 34 for Chicago. At one time was a mainstay in the Cubs starting rotation. Laird takes high. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He had like a 20 strikeout game when he came up, and he was just a baby boy.
He sure did. That was at Wrigley Field.
against the Astros, I believe, and he was just unbelievable.
Laird taps one right back to the mound. It's a good start for Kerry Wood. One gone.
Good breaking ball at 88 miles an hour.
So here comes Brandon Inge, who has made a spectacular catch defensively and also double to start off the 5-run rally in the 8th. He's picking up in May where he left off in April. And he has the power to tie it up. 7 home runs already this year for Brandon. Strike one. Kerry Wood is 31 years old. First got to the big leagues in 1998 with Chicago. Didn't spend much time in the minor leagues.
The good ones come fast. He's out of Texas somewhere where they just
Irving
or always have good power pitchers.
Foul back out of play.
6'5". He's still rather young.
He's born in Irving, went to high school in Grand Prairie, Texas. Yeah, he is. I mean, at 31. You would think has some years ahead of him if he can stay healthy.
Ooh.
He had Inge backing away.
He sure did. I think that one might have fooled Cornflakes, the home plate umpire, Mike Riley. He is from Battle Creek, you know.
Yes, he is. And a lot of years in Major League Baseball, Cornflakes. 32 years. Swing and a miss. And down goes Inge, and Kerry Wood, impressively, has retired the first 2 batters.
Real good breaking ball here, but he had aggressive body movement toward home plate like it was going to be a fastball. He threw a dandy to Inge. Really good pitch for Wood. The Indians really have had a difficult time of getting to Wood on a consistent basis.
Last chance for the Tigers is Josh Anderson. That's on the ground to third. DeRosa has it, should do it, and it does. And the Indians survive the big comeback tonight from the Tigers. Up 6-0 at one point. The Tigers score 5 in the 8th, but they'll fall short on a 1-2.